Yeah, I can
Yeah.
give you a good example, Gerardo. I think I told you this story. I
Right.
participated in a number of the placements, and most of the companies I don't know. Again, I know a lot of resource companies, and so some of my, that he recommends I do know, and I don't participate in everything, but I've done a number and done really well. But recently, he sent out a note on a lithium company called Critical Elements. I'd never heard of it. I read his, he had an opportunity to recommend the private placement to his subscribers, of which I'm one. And it was late at night, and a lot of times you don't get the, especially high net worth individuals don't get the amount they want. So I sent a big number off. I'd had a couple of glasses of wine. I read Nick's report on the company that I'd never heard of, which surprised me. And when I read, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but the structure looked good, the people looked good. It was in final permitting, big hard rock lithium resource. But most importantly to me, from his writing, again, I didn't know this, was the gentleman who took over as the CEO is the same gentleman who had sold his last lithium company for billions of dollars, and he'd come in to run this company. So clearly he likes the asset. I like the fact that he sold his last company for billions of dollars. So I sent an email out thinking I wouldn't get this much, and 10 minutes later, it was a six-figure amount of stock, and dollar-wise, and I get an email back, "You're in." And I'm like, huh. And I kind of laughed because it was a lot, quite a bit of money, even in my own deals that I'm raising money for. It was a good chunk of money. And, anyway, I ended up participating, and the jury's still out, but I think the financing was at 32 cents 2 months ago. A week later, Tesla announced that they were doing a joint venture with a hard rock lithium project in Alabama, a small company. The stock in that company went from, I think, $10 to $30 or something like that, Gerardo.
Yeah.
And the lithium space lit up. And now all of a sudden, this little critical element that Nick introduced me to is now trading close to $1 a share. And not to mention, I paid 32 cents. Again, I haven't, my stock still has a hold on it, but I feel pretty good being up 200% in 2 months and holding all those warrants I got also. So that example alone would pay for the rest of the next 100 years of Nick's, if it works out and I'm able to realize that, which I think I will be able to, it would pay, for years of Nick's service in one piece of advice to his network. So yeah, someone like Nick is, there are not a lot of people that run those types of things. And again, I have brokers that recommend, but a lot of times by the time the broker recommends a private placement to you, it's the brokerage owners. If they didn't, the stuff that gets passed down, if there's any left, it tends not to be the best deals. So, I don't want to be the last one on the totem pole to get offered a, private placement to, in that scenario, because again, it's, if it was really that great, it wouldn't never got offered to me in the first place in the brokerage scenario. So yeah, I do my own mostly, Gerardo, but again, I've done very well with Nick Hodges' service.
Well, obviously, I'll make sure that we put a link up to his service, which is now up and running. I can't let you go, Jeff, without getting your take on the current consolidation, if you want to call it that, in the gold price here. Pivot back below the 1875 level. We're currently trading around 1865, and then I have to ask right after that, once I get your take on that. If you're adding during this weakness as I am, and I think you and I have had conversations about companies that I'm actually quite enjoying to see a pullback, because it allows me to be a bit more aggressive on the buy side of it. But your take in the gold space, you've seen multiple bull cycles, you've seen pullbacks. What are you thinking? How's it look?
I think it took longer for the pullback to happen than I thought it would. If you listen to my last, I think I did an interview with you in August, and I said, we're due for a late August, and I thought we were going to have a pullback. I think we didn't for a month longer. So again, you've had a good run in the price of gold, and the equities are off there. Have had a good move. So now you've got the noise that people are saying, gee, this was it. We need to get out. It's like 2016, or you've got the other side that says gold's going to $10,000 an ounce. My personal feeling is that you have an unprecedented amount of money being printed right now. I think all assets are going to do well. I think the stock market's going to do well. I think gold's going to do well for two reasons. The dollars are going to be printed, which, increases the gold can't be printed, similar to the argument with Bitcoin. And that's a whole nother topic we could talk about. But the bottom line is that I think assets are going higher and gold's going to go higher. Plus gold has that safe haven. At some point, debt and amount of money being printed is going to create people not getting paid back at the borrower level from companies. I think government's not paying people back. So gold to me is a great thing to own. I speculate in the resource space, and some of those are precious metal stocks. So, and to answer your question on what I'm buying, I bought a lot of stocks over the last 3-4 years. I've done some private placements, a number of private placements over the summer. I'm buying things that I really like. And in this last run up, I sold a few things that, I didn't really understand why I still owned them, and culled some of those smaller positions. So some of my bigger positions and companies I really like. I believe we're in a bull market that's going to be one for the ages in the resource sector and other asset classes too. So I think these things are going a lot higher next year. But there will be setbacks. That's what a bull market is, and that's what we're in right now.
Care to share a name or two?
A name or two that I've been buying in the market?
Correct.
I've been buying Chicana Copper. The symbol's Peru. I originally bought the stock, which is a long story cheaper. They didn't have permits. They're now drilling with their permits and hitting what they thought they hit, and I like what I'm seeing. So I'm still buying stock at these current prices that, and again, I'm up considerably on my initial purchase, but I'm buying lots of stock. I think I bought 250,000 shares yesterday. That being said, Gerardo, I also consult for Chicana because often companies want to hire me to get my advice. Not only am I a large shareholder, but it's critical that you raise your money. And when you do private placements from the company standpoint, you do it with people that are going to be supportive of the company and help you build that company. So I often consult with companies to make sure that, because I'm a large shareholder, that, yes, I will participate in the future, but I want to make sure, you understand who we should be trying to get to participate to help build this company out. Because my ultimate goal with something like Chicana is, if it's a raging bull market and the stock's trading at $4 or $5, like I've seen in the past with these resource bull markets, I may take some money off the table. I still will own some stock, but realistically, I think it's the type of company that can be bought out in this cycle. You already have in a company like that, Gold Fields is their largest shareholder, and they're very happy, and a major miner who's been funding this drilling. So again, and I expect they'll continue to want to fund the drilling because they've had great results. So that's the one I've been buying in the market. Again, I'm buying it because even though I think they will raise money, my guess is that it's not going to be brokerage for money. It's going to be a major type money or, majors or, players that aren't in it to play the stock in a short period of time. So I probably won't be able to participate in that type of private placement. So I'm better off just buying some more stock in the market if I want to own more. What else have I been buying? I think that's the only thing I bought this week, if that's what you're talking about. But over the last couple of months, I've been buying Almaden Minerals, which is you and I have talked about, which is a gold deposit in Mexico. Trades on both the New York Stock Exchange under AAU and AMM on the Toronto Venture Exchange. But I like that asset. It's an extremely good-looking asset. It's got a bankable feasibility study. They're waiting for their permit, and that is the risk. If it's been slowed down in Mexico, there's always politics. There's coronavirus. The courts were closed. There's all these things. Government agencies aren't open, so it's taken longer to get that permit. Granted, I think they're going to get the permit, and then this company's worth considerably more than it trades at. So if they don't get the permit, I'll be wrong. So, but that's one I've been buying. And, but again, there's a number of stocks over the last couple of months, but the only one I think I bought this week was the Chicana. So.
Excellent. Jeff, it's been insightful and informative as always. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? And let me thank you for your time. Of course, I appreciate it.
Yeah, just that, the resource sector is extremely high risk. It shouldn't be played with money that, is, money that, again, it's extremely high risk. And the fact of the matter is that, what most people do wrong in the resource sector is they get advice from a broker, a newsletter writer, and they end up owning 40 stocks, small amounts in 40 different companies that they can't track, that even the newsletter writers in a lot of cases aren't tracking that well. And, and even if one of those companies hits it big and goes up 20-for-1, that, they don't own enough to make a difference. So if you are going to get in the resource space, you want to keep your portfolio small. If you are a accredited investor, it's great to get warrants. And again, understand their risk level. You can make multiple times your money in this sector very quickly, especially in a bull market. I mean, you and I remember the last bull market, which, again, it was things move very quickly when people are all running into a certain sector. And I think you'll have that in the resource sector because it hasn't happened for a long time. So, but that would be my advice and get good advice from someone. Like you said, make sure if you're listening to a broker that, why is this broker, why is this advice good? Well, is he a geologist? Is he, what are his connections? What's his network? And again, or if you're listening to a newsletter writer, what do people say online about this guy? How many stocks is he covering? And again, make sure you're listening to people that know what they're doing.
Advice from one of the best, everyone.
Such as yourself and Nick Hodge. I almost forgot Nick's last name. Sorry about that.
Jeff, thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. I really appreciate your time and the advice and the guidance. And again, advice from one of the best in the space, everyone. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thank you, Gerardo.